various RPA tools. And then because most of the financial services, there's a lot of, you know,
Yeah, I think we are live.
okay.
I think, Julian, you are on mute.
Hi, everyone. A very warm welcome to this session of Let Us Talk It webinars. This is our professional set of webinars, which we do every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from 12 to 1 p.m. EST and 10:30 to 11:30 p.m. IST, Indian Standard Time. So one thing that we always aim to is spread the word, empower the community, have an enhanced approach. Everything we do from our part, whatever we can, but it is always up to all of us, all those who have joined us on Facebook, YouTube, or LinkedIn, to spread the word, to let others benefit also by just sharing the links or sharing the flyers, whichever way you can. And we not only do these professional webinars, which encompasses HR, leadership, coaching, technical, personal development, health topics, but we also do youth webinars, which are orchestrated and even prepped before the actual webinars happened. So these youth webinars, we do alternate Fridays for younger group, which is from 6 years to 10 years, and the older group, which is from 11 years to 20 years. So these webinars, we do the younger group, we do on Friday from 8:45 to 9:45 p.m. EST, and the older youth group webinar we do on Saturdays from 4 to 5 p.m. EST. So it does not disturb the school timings for the youth. And but it's a little confusing when you hear it for the first time. But if you are interested, if you are a parent, if you're a kid, you are interested, please email us at webinar@letustalkit.com. And for these professional webinars, if you want to be a speaker or you want to spread the word, or you have done something, you're an author, you wrote a book, or you came across a tool which you think the community would help, so you can also let us know by emailing us at webinar@letustalkit.com. Having all that said, let's begin today's webinar, which is definitely technical. Wednesdays, we try to keep it technical. And today's topic is intelligent document processing using RPA, Robotic Process Automation in Financial Services Industry. And to talk on this topic, we have Abhinav Gupta. He's a vice president, product management, and he is an accomplished product management leader and digital transformation strategist with over 17 plus years of direct experience implementing all aspects of proposed digital transformation, organizational change management, and business agility strategies to deliver enterprise impactful transformation initiatives in the US, EMEA, and APAC. So having a recent focus on establishing and executing emerging technologies programs involving data management, data analytics, BI, RPA, AI, ML cloud, organizational design, utilizing opportunity identification, and process redesign and product platform mutualization. It's a mouthful of things that he does, but if you want to interact with him, After the session, we will be having the question answer session. So last 10 minutes of the webinar, please do join, give your questions, ask your questions on the chat box or in the comment section if you have joined in from YouTube or Facebook, and you can interact with him, know a little bit more. But we are extremely honored and happy to have you. Abhinav, over to you.
Thanks. Hey, thanks, Julian. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. It's great to kind of talk through the community, share your experiences, and and it's all about learning, right? I mean, as we share, as all of your questions come in, I get to think, and there are new challenges, new things that I also learn every day, talking to student communities, talking to corporates, talking to startups. So I think I personally love actually talking to people on various aspects, whatever I have done over past 16, 17 years, working across the industries. I like to kind of set up some thought processes, like what you can expect out of this particular webinar. This is a pretty vast topic, but this can be really used in a day-to-day life, right? I mean, robotic process automation is, I mean, 5 or 6 years back when this came in, I mean, I was like, wow, this is something that could simplify a lot of lives. And, we are talking about digital labor right now. We are talking how do we, move up the ladder and kind of give away the mundane tasks that a lot of the resources within the organization is actually doing, right? So, having said that, what I would like to do is, like, I will take at a very high level, what is RPA and what is intelligent document processing, and also why I call it as intelligent document processing. Because whenever we hear the word AI and ML and data science and so many jargons, I just wanted to differentiate between, when we come across anything which is intelligent, what does that actually mean? So, and then also talk you through some of these main tools that are there in the market, which industry is using, and how impactful it has been to the industry, some of these tools, and how it has, been like at a center stage in some of the service companies which are trying to upskill their, workforce. Okay. So let me know in case you can see the screen, right? So artificial intelligence in generally, right? It's a general umbrella that covers the everything about automation, which is mimicking human behavior, right? Now, what is the first thing that any AI or any data science or any deep learning algorithm would actually have is, imagine that there is a robot, right? The first robot that has been ever built was trying to do every single thing that a human can do, right? Now, when I talk about RPA, right, which is robotic process automation, the first thing that all of these RPA tools were trying to do is, okay, is to do a desktop surface automation. What does desktop surface automation would do is, uh, there are a lot of these reports that have been created by these users, and someone needs to kind of go into one particular field and cut, copy, paste whatever a human is doing, right? So by creating a robot, it basically records certain things, and you can parameterize it, and then the same task would be done by a robot again and again and again and again, right? Without any failure. Okay. So that is the first step, okay, for any RPA. Now, having said that, this can get very complex because not everything in the world is very straightforward, right? I mean, there are people who would go to different ecosystems and try and pull out data and then try to create certain reports. So that's where, the whole whole machine learning and AI and deep learning comes into picture, that OCR, right? I mean, there are like now RPA tools which are actually reading a paper report as an OCR and then converting that paper report into a digital format. So that is OCR report. So all of these different plugins have been developed by all of these RPA tools. All of this combined together would bring in intelligent document processing. Okay, so intelligent document processing is extremely important for any bank or for any business, because there are so many documents that are produced every single minute, and hundreds and thousands of reports that are being published, and people want to kind of know and extract data, because data is the most important asset for a particular organization, and people trying to run an analytics onto it, try to make sense out of that particular data. And that's where the whole intelligent document processing and all of these latest generation programs, like creation of the data lake, creation of analytics engine on top of it, running machine learning algorithm, prediction algorithms, and so on and so forth. They are all based out in where you get the data first and do data engineering, and post the data engineering you do data science, which is to make conclusive events with the data. Okay, so that's the thought process, okay, for anything. Now the IDP solutions, right, are usually powered by AI technologies, right? Now, one of the best use cases that you and me or anyone can actually correlate is the KYC form, right? I mean, if you step into a bank, right, there's a an officer in the bank who will ask you to fill up a form, okay, and you will do a paper form, right? You fill up a paper form and then kind of submit that paper form. The similar thing is with invoice processing, similar thing with insurance processing. So how do you convert that paper form into a digital form and then make sense out of it, right? So some of these RPA tools in today's world have been extremely intelligent to take up that paper form, and try to do a lot of analysis in the paper form, and convert into digital, and then make a lot of sense out of that particular data. So having said that, there is a step by step journey to do. You cannot directly build a robot, right? I mean, you'll have to educate that particular robot like a child, right? Like when a child is born, someone is going to take the child, change the diapers, or like make him speak A for apple or B for ball, right? So that's very similar, like how you have to kind of educate a particular robot when you build anything, any bot using any of these RPA tools like UiPath, Math Logic, or any of those kind of things, right? So what do you do in that particular aspect? We'll walk through that particular life cycle. How does the screen capture actually happens, and what is that is required, for doing RPA activities, right? So, for example, in this particular slide, if you see that there are different type of the documents that are there, which are like PDF or doc, or Outlook emails, and so on and so forth. So using an RPA tool, you're trying to capture the data, like you've been reading like thousands of emails, okay, and right now, like in an office, there are like 10,000 emails that are coming in right now. You need a digital assistant, so that digital assistant is going to read those emails and try to just get you a lead out of all the sales, this thing, right? So that's kind of called as data capture. Now, within the data capture, you would like to, once you do a raw data capture, you want to classify the data. Okay, is it good data, bad data? And within that data, which is good data, you want to also classify, okay, this is sales, this is purchase, this is accounts, this is whatever, right? So you want to classify that data, and then after the classification of the data, you would like to extract the data into relevant, you know, tabular format, and then make the data as a structured data. Now, as you keep on kind of collecting this data, right, um, and from a different sources, the system gets intelligent over a period of time, right? With all the machine learning algorithms that are in behind the scene, or like the neural networks that are actually behind the scene that are working in. So what is coming next, okay? By the virtue of the kind of the data. So give you an example, right? I mean, in financial services, one of the biggest areas is anti-money laundering, right? Today, I mean, terrorist funding and know your customer is mandated by the all the regulators to ensure that your data is kind of protected, number one, as well as you are not involved in any sort of illegal activities, right? So there are a lot of databases that are being created across the world to make sure that no Osama bin Laden can actually transfer money from one place to another using a digital method, right? So they will mark that particular account as a gray or a black account, and right, I mean, there are financial task forces that are actually behind the scene working in reading through each and every transactions that are actually made, right? So all of these data are collected at some point in time at some major massive data repositories to ensure that some of these anti-money laundering cannot actually happen. So that's a very, very big use case for robotic process automation. Okay, now that's financial services. Now let's take a very simple example, okay, of what you and me can do with RPA. Okay, now I was trying to teach someone, I mean, a young kid who was trying to find a laptop. Okay, so on Amazon and on Walmart, or on the 5 different websites. So what he was trying to do here is he was trying to go on Amazon and trying to find out, okay, which is the best laptop, where he can find the best deals, and what's the best model that is available, right? So he wrote a small bot, and basically, and there's a small tool that we use called as a UiPath, and we recorded a particular process. So how do you do that, right? So you go basically, go to Amazon.in or com and find out all the laptops that I want an i7 processor or whatever. So there's a list of laptops that comes in. So it keeps on collecting it and extract that entire list from the website and put it into an Excel sheet. And then you can do a quick data comparison, right? So similar to this, I mean, there's a very small, plugin that is there into Google Chrome that you can install, and you can actually find out all of your deals, all of the things, to scrape the data from the internet and find out the best thing that is available. So that's pretty user centric kind of thing that you can start using instead of like spending hours finding out a deal. This is an easier way to do it. Similar to this, I mean, in financial services also, we have a huge back office shop, which basically does asset servicing, reorganizational events, settlements of the trade, transactions, and so on and so forth. So all of these different transactions, there's a huge number of people that are actually involved into kind of doing all of these tasks, right? Um, so some of this is done using now the using RPA, because as of now, all of these systems are getting these reports from various companies, and then they're trying to extract the data, read the emails from the client, and then formulate a structured data, right? So that's pretty much at a high level, how an RPA tool or at how intelligent document processing can actually happen. Okay, now, what are the key questions that you should always ask, right? I mean, it looks pretty nice, right? Why don't we implement an RPA tool, or why don't we do this or that, right? But let me give you some real fact, okay? It's it's uh, it's a very use case centric driven area. Now, have you you should also find out what is the outcome that you are trying to achieve. Okay, how many number of resources that you are trying to kind of save using this particular RPA tool. Are you ensuring that you have the right licenses, or the documents or the input formats are supported by the tools, and so on and so forth. And at the end of the day, what is the ROI that you are trying to gain by implementing, which is none of these RPA tools are very cheap. Okay, so uh, you need to ensure that, okay, if you have 5 people doing the same job, and you spend like about $1 million in just taking a license. So again, there are cost benefit analysis that needs to be done. Okay, and you need to identify the tool which can do the job, right? Not every tool that is available in the market is going to fit the purpose. So in in the real world, what is the real scenario is, you will have to take a use case, and for that particular use case, you need to identify what is the best tool that is available, number one. Okay, can that tool do this particular use case? What are the tweaks that we need to do, and how easy to implement, and how easy to maintain the bot later on, right? Because you cannot keep on creating that bot again and again, right? And how intelligent that bot becomes after, like, spending like 6 months or 8 months into the production environment. So all of those questions needs to be answered before we dive in and start implementing any of these IDP solutions, whether it is AI based solution, ML based solutions, or RPA based solutions. Any of those solutions needs to be thought through first. This has to kind of, I mean, have to be looked into a way that what is your ultimate objective? What are you trying to achieve? Okay. Only then you will be able to kind of see the real benefits out of it. Mhm. Uh, so what I've done here is basically there are a bunch of, tools that have been there in the market for quite some time. And this is an Everest Group report, right? What are the various vendor offerings that are there? Okay, some of these big ones, which are like, up the ladder, are someone like, Work Fusion and the UiPath and Automation Anywhere. So, or Blue Prism, right? So those are, some of those tools which have been heavily used across the industry. Work Fusion, and everyone has their own, USPs, right? I mean, when I talk about UiPath is one tool which is extremely, I mean, and their strategy as a company, right, has been to kind of democratize the entire way how automation has been done till date, right? So they will give you a free license to kind of learn. There are free trainings, free certifications, and their website is absolutely amazing. And anyone who is a good start or a new starter, I think the first tool that they should pick up is the UiPath, right? I mean, with like 10 days of training, probably like a 10th grader can start actually creating robots. Okay, so which is pretty interesting with UiPath. I mean, the ease of usage is extremely good. um, um, there are a lot of complex things that UiPath can handle, but again, I mean, it's not up there in like in the leagues of Work Fusion, wherein it's very code centric, right? Which has a lot of AI and ML tools that have been built in Work Fusion, which is like up the ladder, right? Similar to this, there's a tool called Blue Prism, which is heavily used, in financial services. One, because I mean, Blue Prism was one of the first RPA tool that came into picture. So, I mean, then, UiPath, Automation Anywhere, Work Fusion, those are like, some of those big ones that have been kind of dominating the market areas. So the idea is like, if you're a small business owner and you want to try and automate certain things. I mean, the best way to do it is like take a learning license from UiPath or Automation Anywhere, and try to do it certain things by yourself. It's very easy. There are courses on Udemy for $10 or $5 that can be done, and pretty impressive courses. It's very easy to learn. So that would actually be a really good stuff, so that you can cut down the mundane tasks like reading 500 emails, extracting the data out of those 500 emails, and then pushing the data somewhere else. So some of those things would actually help into your digital journey to do how you look at the data. You can actually I mean, if you're a small business owner, you can send any of these companies an RFI and RFPs, because and they would pick up that particular RFI. RFI is request for information, request for proposal, because they would come to you, and they're pretty open in terms of like working with small business owners, or even enterprise level business owners, to kind of work with them and try to see if their tool kind of solves their problem, or like kind of enhances their workflows or certain things of that sort. So and that's the best way to even learn, right? I mean, the tools, and you would know the capabilities of those particular tools in that particular way. So and each one of them are pretty okay to kind of pick up an RFI, and like work with you on your use case or your business problem, and try to see how they can actually solutionize a particular problem that you have actually. Okay. um, so in generally, like uh, you know how much time does it take, that's another area that we need to look at, right? So if you are trying to do a full-fledged implementation, it would come to about a year and a half, of selecting the tool, doing an RFI, imagining what needs to be done, figure out, the use cases, and then giving it out from budgeting, negotiation, and implementation perspective, right? So I mean, I'll put a ballpark number about a year if you start today, to kind of actually go into production, for a particular RPA solution over a period of time. I mean, that's pretty much, what is my experience into that particular thing. Okay. So I think, yeah, I mean, there are a lot more details in there in this presentation, but I would like to, I think, hold on over here and, take up if there are any more questions very specific to RPA or any other things. Would that be okay, Dylan?
Hey, thank you so much, Abhinav. That's a great presentation.
Yeah.
Let members ask if they have any questions. Okay, if there's nothing else, I think, probably, yeah, I'm not sure if we have anything on the YouTube or Facebook. But yeah, otherwise, thanks for the, great presentation covering
Sure.
a lot of the aspects.
Thank
So
you.
yeah, you can please continue. Yeah.
All right. So, what are the other things that you should look at, while you are looking at any of these RPA tools, right? Um, who is funding that particular tool, right? And what is the kind of the skill set that you require, okay, to build, any of these RPA programs? So the skill set that is required is, you need people who understand the business, because this is, any RPA tool is for a business owner or a business user, right? Like the person who has been doing that particular activity, because they know the process. Okay, so they would have to tell someone that this is the step one, this is the step two, and this is the step three, and this is the step four that I do. Can you help me to automate that particular thing, right? So that is the first person. And if that person is willing to learn a new technology, then I think that's the best place, you know, to be in, right? Apart from that, I think from a cultural shift perspective, I think my experience about this is pretty funny, okay? Because a few years back, I was given a program wherein, the job was to fire actually 50 people um, and implement an RPA solution. That was the task. Now, now the person who is actually looking, who's going to give me the data, is the one who is going to get fired at some point in time, right? But it's very important for someone who is implementing it to kind of give them a right perspective that, you've been doing a mundane task for such a long year. Why don't you learn this particular process? And this is going to help you to kind of upskill yourself and maybe, make a little more money out of it. So again, I mean, you'll have to be very convincing if you are an RPA consultant, because only the person who is actually using, you know, the particular process would be able to tell you what needs to be done, right? And you need to convince him to make sure that, he learns that particular technology. So there's no much of development that is required in some of these tools. These are very user friendly tools, and anyone can start using it with about a month or two training, and then, then there's a whole horizon to kind of keep learning in some of those tools. Yeah. So, and again, I mean, as I said, right, the evaluation team about for any RPA tool is the key team, right? I mean, because the person who are evaluating needs not to be biased that, okay, they've been doing this particular thing for so many years and that's how the things are done. And if they are that biased, then I think, none of these RPA programs would actually work, because, if I am very sure that I am going to type in Google Chrome, www.amazon.com, and going to search it like this, and that's how I've been doing it, and that's how I will be doing it, then I think that won't help, right? There's a little shift in the mindset that, I'll take like 2 hours doing it, but again, I mean, I can keep looking at this for one time. So I think that's one way to look at it, right? So those teams are extremely important, how we should look at it, right? Um, So again, I mean, there are a lot of these features that are available in the tools, like, they can run. You can run a robot for like days and months and years without stopping, right? A human has to stop, right? So that's the best part about it, right? That's why you're bringing in a robot, right? Because they will not fail. Okay, they don't get tired. Okay, and they can keep doing the same thing again and again, and they don't really get bored, right? You can get bored and you will switch a job. So a robot doesn't switch a job. It will keep on doing the same thing once they learn what needs to be done. uh, the only changes that needs to be done in case if, the data that is coming in, or the document that is coming in is changed, or the way that, you want to see the output of an RPA tool. So that's the visibility and the matrix part of it, like, how much, the data that they have processed, and what are the errors that are coming in from using an RPA tool. I mean, humans would create errors, but RPA, the error percentage keeps on going down as, that particular tool or the program matures. So yeah, I think, yeah, that's pretty much what I have to cover. And again, I mean, there are pretty detailed reports that are on the Everest group, or, on the UiPath website or Abby website, and, so you can go through some of those research reports by Everest to kind of do a tool comparison, what suits your business, and, what their capabilities are. So yeah, that's pretty much what I had for today.
Yeah, it's very interesting that you covered that transition into an RPA environment, and the people sentiments, and why they need to look at it in a different way,
Mhm.
upskilling themselves. Yeah, those are
Yeah,
very interesting aspects as well. Yeah, thank you so much for a great insightful presentation.
yeah.
So we
Thank you.
thank all the audience as well, and we definitely get in touch with you if you
All
have
right.
further questions.
Okay. All right.
Okay, have a good
All
one,
right.
everybody.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. Have a good one.
Yeah,
Bye.
take care. Bye bye.